we're in the midst of incredible growth, staggering growth in the church. It's the single biggest problem we have. It's the best problem we could have, but it's the biggest. A week ago Thursday, we created 15 stakes, and we're doing that más o menos every week, more or less. It might not be 15, but it's the week before it was 12. Sometimes it's 8 or whatever, and it'll be a little uneven. But the point is, I mean, we're talking double-digit stakes every week of our lives.
Not in the UK, you aren't. In fact, in the past 12 months, the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints in the UK lost 4 of its 45 stakes, an almost 10% reduction. It also lost at least 9 wards and had 2 wards downgraded to branches during this time. This has been a brutal 12 months for the UK Church. The 4 stakes lost were Lichfield, Watford, Maidstone, and Wandsworth. Let's take a look at the details. Lichfield was Lichfield, Burton, Cannock, Tamworth, Wolverhampton 1, Wolverhampton 2, and Wild Green wards. Coventry and Birmingham stakes were involved in the closure. Lichfield stake was completely absorbed by Birmingham. Solihull and Redditch moved to Coventry stake from Birmingham to make room. Cannock ward was closed. Stourbridge ward was closed. Wolverhampton 1 and 2 were merged to become Wolverhampton ward, and Kidderminster became a branch. Watford was Watford, Aylesbury, Enfield, Hayes and Wembley. The merger involved Reading, St Albans and Hyde Park. Watford, Enfield and Aylesbury moved to the St Albans stake. Hayes moved to the Reading stake and Wembley moved to the London Hyde Park stake. Wandsworth was Catford, Clapham Common, Crystal Palace, Kennington, Mitcham and Peckham. Its closure involved the Canterbury, Crawley and Hyde Park stake. Peckham goes to Hyde Park, Catford goes to Canterbury, Mitcham ward is dissolved and its members are now part of Epsom in Crawley stake. Clapham Common and Crystal Palace merged to become Wandsworth Common First Ward. Kennington becomes Wandsworth Common Second Ward, but it's still Spanish speaking. And just this morning I found out that up here, Catford Ward is now been renamed Blackheath Ward. Maidstone was Maidstone, Selsdon, Orpington, Welling, Tunbridge Wells and Hastings. It was dissolved entirely into Canterbury apart from Selsdon, which went to Crawley. Gillingham First and Second Ward of Canterbury stake were merged just before this announcement to become one ward. Reading stake was also renamed the Thames Valley stake. It lost Farnborough, Bracknell and Basingstoke to Staines stake, and it gained High Wycombe and Slough from Staines stake. It gained Hayes from the Watford closure, and Reading and Woodley merged to become Reading ward. Romford was renamed the Thames East stake. It gained Chelmsford First and Second Ward from Ipswich stake. It gained City and Stratford from Hyde Park stake. And Stratford and Ilford merged to become Wanstead ward. Grays ward was downgraded to Thurrock branch in the weeks leading up to the change. Hopefully I've made that clear for you and you managed to follow along. Here are all the new stakes as they appear in the UK. Why does this matter? Well, the history of the church and the British Isles is long. The oldest units of the church are here. The oldest church mission is here. The oldest church buildings in the world are here. We have multi-generational families to rival those of Utah. And in spite of these recent closures, we still have over twice as many stakes as any other country in Europe. So if the church is dying here, if they cannot keep people involved here, then the rest of Europe doesn't look hopeful. And the heartlands of Utah and Idaho maybe aren't as safe as you'd think. It also matters because the senior leaders of the church seem to be in denial about it. Here's Russell M. Nelson addressing the church in Europe in 2022. He said things like,
"There is a feeling among some people that religion is dying in Europe. Secularism is indeed flourishing in many parts of the world, and Europe is no exception. The gathering of Israel, foretold throughout Scripture, is occurring right now in every nation. That includes those of Europe. Europe has an unparalleled future."
These sorts of state closures and reductions in the amount of church units shows clearly that certainly here in the United Kingdom, the church's future is unparalleled only in the amount of units and stakes it is closing. These past 12 months have seen the first closures of stakes in the history of the church on these islands. And this is in spite of recent reductions in the number of priesthood holders needed to run a ward. The wards and stakes are still struggling to find enough of them.
You remember that we yesterday talked about one calling per member and not 3 callings? This will help the process of just having one calling and have joy in your life, have enough time in your life to have friends outside the church as well, because that's very important.
One solution, of course, is to allow women to perform some of the roles currently only available to men. But that's a debate for another time. Or better yet, the comments section. But one thing is for sure, the church clearly feels the need to spin this decline in a positive way, and aren't yet ready to admit to the members that these stake closures are not a good thing.
You need to know that however you are affected by this, that today, absolutely nothing has come to an end. Today is the culmination of the efforts, the dedication, the service of each of you in these 3 stakes over the last 50 years or so, or however many years these stakes have existed.
Is this a step back? It's not a step back. It is strengthening the stakes.
I'll be keeping a close eye on the church's decline here in the UK, and you can support that work by going to the links just below the like button and becoming a monthly donor or buying merchandise. You can also subscribe, which doesn't cost anything. And you're going to want to subscribe, because according to this letter to members of the London Hyde Park stake, further adjustments are coming on the 25th of June. And you can bet that I'll be back to tell you all about it.